speaker.
HR, this is Rachel.
Hello, Rachel. You caught me out in the rear 40.
How are you, Shane?
I'm doing good. How are you? What's up?
I'm doing fine. Everything here is good to go. Besides the wind, it won't stop. But I'm sure you don't feel sorry for me there.
Well, I'm sitting here looking out the windows at the trees blowing back and forth. So.
Well, Shane, can you wait on here for just a second? I'm going to grab Denise because we wanted to just talk to you a little bit about work and benefits and that sort of thing. If you have a second.
Okay. All right. I got my wife on speaker. My wife's here. I got you on speaker, by the way, just so you know.
Okay. What's your wife's name?
Caitlin. This is Rachel. Jaime. Rachel. This is my wife, Caitlin Spencer.
Okay. Okay, Shane. I'm going to go grab Denise. One sec.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, so Denise, Shane and Caitlin, his wife, are on the line here. So, Shane, I just wanted to call and talk to you about just a couple of things. And I'm doing this, I hope you understand, on your behalf, and I hope you just go with it here, and I hope you don't have any concerns about this. But basically what my understanding is, Shane, is that you have asked for FMLA leave, the full 12 weeks. Right. Denise has indicated that because you're in that one qualifying role for FMLA, you're not eligible for it.
Right.
But you have talked to Bryan and requested to take some time off. Now, Bryan said to me that he had asked you to submit a leave slip so that he could, take it to Eric and make some consideration for how long they could afford for you to be gone. Have you done that?
Ma'am, I have no recollection of him asking me any such thing. I haven't checked my email on my work phone, and if there's anything there, I'm not aware of it. Okay. But let me, if I could finish, please. The last word that I had from Bryan Nelson was I told him I needed my full time, and he said, I'll work on that. He said, until you hear from me, just consider it that you're okay and that you are just on leave without pay, and that will give me 2 weeks. This is Bryan talking. That gives me 2 weeks to go ahead and get this worked out because of what you're saying. And so I've been in a holding pattern waiting for Bryan Nelson to get back to me. Nothing was requested of me, and I believe I've been recording my conversations recently, and I am pretty certain I have that one. I can produce it if you need.
Okay. No, I don't think that would be necessary, Shane. I wanted to make sure that there was no misunderstanding. Bryan was under the impression that you could do your leave request through your phone, you know what I mean, to log into like JDE or however you typically do your leave and do it through your phone. So I think he has been waiting for that. But
I was not asked to do anything by Bryan Nelson. If he says differently, then I am saying that he is lying. And I am saying that I have been waiting for him to call me back. Ever since our conversation, he said, until I get back to you, just assume that you're okay and that you are on leave without pay and that he could only do that for a couple of weeks, but that in that time, he would work it out. Now, I want it to be clear, as you said before, Rachel, and you guys know how much I love you down there.
Oh, thank you,
Okay,
Shane.
it's the truth, and you're not gonna get a sideward. I heard just a little trepidation in your voice, and honey, you got nothing to worry about. I'm not going to get feisty with you at all. But the fact is that is the truth, and so if he asserts that is the truth, I just want it clearly noted that is not my recollection, and I have no knowledge of anything other than I was supposed to sit here and wait for him to contact me.
Okay. No, I think that's fine, Shane. I mean, sometimes when we're having phone conversations, we think we say something or we forget about it.
That's okay. I have recordings,
yeah.
Rachel. I have recordings, sweetie. So if we need to straighten it out, I have the conversation.
Okay.
Just as long as it's clear to you that that is the case.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. It's.
Okay.
I mean, I don't need it now. I'll let you know if I do, but
Okay.
no, that's not anything I need right now. So I guess, Shane, what I wanted to find out from you was that, first of all, can you submit a leave slip from
Absolutely.
your question? Okay. And the question, the one thing I do want to present to you through conversations that I've had with Bryan and Clayton is I think they want to afford you time off, Shane, as you need it. I think the one concern they have, because right now they're sending folks up there, is that can you commit to coming back the mid-April before the park opens? I think Bryan was saying, depending on what you submitted for a request, he was looking at maybe the first week of April. So they were looking at 30 days, but at the max, April 12th.
Okay. You know what? I'm not going to tell you I got to check my calendar because it's pretty open. But, okay, I'm just trying to, yes, I am certainly, we can accommodate that. We are in a position, however, and I want to state this right now, if I can,
Okay.
and so I can up front. For us to do that, okay, we're going to need help from MTA in helping with the community, because whatever's happened up here, it was a personal attack on me.
Oh,
And
okay.
it went,
Sorry about this.
and it went, well, though it's fine. Okay, I've got an attorney and everything like that. What I'm trying to say to you, and what's important for you to understand, is that I love my job, Rachel. And I had no intention. I want to go back. I would go back tomorrow if I could. But the thing is that we're in this situation, and I'm dealing with a whole bunch of situations that I literally cannot talk about, and you understand. And so yes, I can commit to that, and I am nothing but cooperation with you guys, just as long as I can come back and begin my work as I left it, and that there is no special considerations and that there's no negative anything toward me. Because I was really, this whole time, I've been shielding this company, and I'll never be able to tell you what from. Okay? And so,
Okay.
so I'm just trying to I'm telling you this so that, telling you this just so you know that I'm on board with you guys, so. And my wife's here sitting, she's refereeing me, so she's telling me to shush.
Well, and Shane, I have to tell you that I understand that what you're saying, but I also, as an HR manager and with my background and a representative of MTA, I can't have you tell me that you have, an issue with the community or something going on with work that you're trying to shelter me from. I have a duty to protect you as an employee, and I need to make sure that you are not being harassed or mistreated. You need to at least share this with me.
Okay. All right. My wife is here. She may interject. Are our phones charged?
Go ahead.
Okay. It's just that I'm just taking this a little more formal because what's been happening up here, and I don't know why, and we can't figure it out. We have gotten into a position to where our family is shunned. Has been completely shunned from the community. And I can tell you that this happened. Let me see here. Hold on. Yeah, okay. And that this, nothing about what happened with him. Okay. All right. Get me back on track.
You're about to start talking about Ray.
All right. So I wasn't actually going to talk about Ray. I was in a relationship with the post office lady, okay. Kathy Hennigan, and in that I ended that relationship last summer. I tried to keep it completely out of the company's business, and I think I did a pretty decent job. But the the only reason why I mentioned this is because, and then I got back together with my ex-wife, Caitlin, and brought her up here. And when she landed up here, it was as if, I mean, just all heck broke loose up here. Okay? And then there was an issue. Now, to make matters worse, so already we tried to put our kid in daycare. He's coming home calling my wife a homewrecker, etc. So there's just this, we were just being shunned. We tried to go to 2 different churches, and the people, they shunned us. And so we moved from Healy to Cantwell. Once again, me trying to shield the company. You know, and so all the time, and we can't say, and we don't know why, but now we're, yeah, okay, about trespass. You can speak. I want you to speak.
Well, what led to your job, you're going too far off base, is
Well,
that
help me.
you have trespassing against you here in Healy.
Yeah, okay.
Which is preventing your job at MTA
Yeah.
at the current moment.
Well, yeah. So here's what happened that you don't know. Thank you. Please talk, because this woman I have a reputation for this. All right. So I go in to talk to the trooper down in the Healy post, to Sergeant Minor. And when I went down there and talked to him, I was approaching him about the community and the fact that I'm the MTA guy and the fact that everything that I just told you was in fact happening. He was aware of me. He was aware of a lot of things about the situation. In fact, about my situation and what was going on with the community and with my wife. And no one, and this is as of presently, will tell us exactly what happened or what is going on. So, but while I was in that meeting with Sergeant Minor, the new sergeant up here, he, in the course of this conversation, informed me that that Ray Evans of Healy, of Evans Industries, had called in to the Alaska State Troopers and had asked them to find me and issue a trespass against me.
Why?
Ma'am, this is why I've been holed up and acting weird. Because there's a couple of different possibilities there. None of them I like too much. Now, can I tell him about Mom and Ray? I better.
Yeah, it plays into why Ray...
Okay, well, you're shaking your head no. All right, now here's the other bit of information. Just put that on the back burner, if you would, Rachel.
Okay.
And early last year, in the spring, while I was still with Kathy Hennigan, the post office lady, I brought my mother up here because my grandmother had just passed, and I brought her up here with the intentions of trying to get her work and set up here because she basically didn't have anyone else. So she came up here. I put her in a cabin that I'd been renting off Barbara Brees. Okay, you're freaking me out. Let me talk.
Wow.
No. It's just, okay, so, okay. And, so anyway, this stuff,
Brought your mom up.
yeah, I brought my mom up. I'm sorry, this whole thing has my family under so much stress right now that
sorry.
literally my wife just walked up because it's just so stressful. And, you know, and so what happened was, in the course, when she was up at the cabin, I'm very sorry, sweetheart. At the course of being at the cabin,
She was
My
having
mom-
sexual relations with Ray Evans.
okay, yeah. Long story short, she got in to an affair with Ray Evans. Okay, I got her a job with Ray Evans. She was working closely with him. He'd been married. He's a pillar of the community. He'd been married 50 years to his wife Donna. Okay, and my mother decided it was a good idea, and I love my mother, but the thing is, she decided it was a good idea to start an affair with this man to the point to where everyone knew it, and Donna had to catch her. And I didn't know whenever she told me, "Hey, I'm getting laid off from Evans's." I'm like, "Why?" Because they were just starting to get work. And so anyway, she split. As soon as from that point, I broke up with Kathy and I called my ex because I just had this moment of clarity. And so long story short, too late. In the course of this, now I just found out that I had a trespass filed on me by Ray Evans. Now it's important to note, Rachel, that I did not know that Ray was angry with me. The last contact I'd had with Ray, he and his wife had invited me into their home and let me stay the night. And I left and I said, I'll talk to you later. And then months afterwards, okay, I find out like in January, David Evans, Ray's brother, just lays it on me because we don't know anything. We didn't even know they were having an affair. David's brother, he says, Ray lost his damn mind. He said he was going to leave Don and everything else. And I'd wondered why my mom left and went immediately down to this fella over here, Gordon.
So there's these problems with, I'm sorry, I'm cutting in real quick.
You're fine.
So there's these problems with Ray Evans. There's been trespassing. Which has created problems within the community, which creates problems for Shane trying to walk on customers' properties and such. There's also Tom Tischler, which he didn't mention. I'm sure y'all have him in the notes because he's called in quite a few complaints on Shane, which is further added to the problems that he already has that's creating problems for his work.
I've been run down in this community, and I didn't even know what was happening until it got so bad, Rachel. And then the reason for this absence is due to the conversation, which I have recorded, between myself and Sergeant Minor. Now, I'm giving you a little more detail than you need because it is the MTA family. And it's gotten to the point to where, yes, you need to know some. What else what about it?
Well, Tom Tischler's created most of the problems.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, we don't know, but it's starting to, what little we're getting back finally, because I just laid my heels into the dirt, and I mean, I started doing some outlandish things, and sure enough, I started learning little bits and pieces, and, you know, I don't know, but it almost seems like AST has some interest in me. And there's a lot of crap going on up here, and by God, if they're looking at me for something, I need to know it, and I need to know it now.
You've received 3 tickets in the past
Yeah.
month, and you've never had a ticket.
I've received 3 tickets in the last month, and I haven't received a ticket. You can look at my driving record.
And they came and did a welfare
Yeah.
check on me.
Yeah, they came and did a welfare check on my wife, okay, under the auspices of some stupid noise complaint. We live out on Denali Highway.
This has been all over the course of 2
Yeah,
months.
this has all been over the course of 2 months. And Rachel, I'll tell you what, anything you know about this stuff is more than we know because it's like an invisible wall. And I mean, I've got an attorney on standby, you know, with the engines heated up, one of the best, if not the best defense attorneys in Fairbanks. But I have yet for anyone to say a word. And if somebody would just say what it is, then I could go to him immediately and get us out of this deadlock. I just need someone to say something in such a way that I can go to my attorney, because until there's some kind of corroboration, what they're doing is, and my wife can vouch for this, is they're calling my mental stability into question in different ways. So, honey.
Are you talking about the trooper, or are you talking about the community, the Tom Tischler, the Ray Evans people?
Well, I'm saying that whenever a trooper just shows up on your doorstep, now the reason he used, full disclosure, and there's a story behind this, but long story short, I'm out on Drashner Lake. I just bought 2 firearms that I had been itching to fire. By the time I got my boy down and gotten everything lined out, he goes to bed at 8 o'clock. I knew it was too late, but I couldn't resist going out and running a full magazine through the shotgun and a full magazine through the pistol I just bought. I did it very quickly, took place in the course of probably 10, 15 seconds, and I walked inside. This is just after 8 o'clock at night. And, you know, and so now nothing happens. We're in here, you know, watching TV. I'd had a couple of drinks, and next thing you know, we hear, you know, crunching. An hour and a half or 2 hours later, out of nowhere, whop, whop, whop on our door. And by the time this is all said and done, he's demanded that my wife produce herself so that he can verify her safety.
Okay.
And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What's being said here? Nothing. Nothing's being said, no matter what we do or what we say or who we say it to. And, you know, and Heath is a good example of this, of how it seems to work, is that anytime I reach out for help, that help is at first willing. And once again, Caitlin's right here with me, is experienced all, and then, but almost immediately it's withdrawn. And this has happened to the point that we're out on Drashner Lake in a cabin. I can't do my job because, and when I say shielding you, I mean that if I'm out and there's some monkey business going on with me and it involves the company, then that's your liability.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I knew I couldn't go to work with, once I heard about that trespass, my first question is, okay, it's on record, so what? If something happens in the future, and my blood ran cold, and I'm like, how many other trespasses are there? Because the conversation I have minor recorded on record is having said that it was just Ray. And it was,
Okay.
and he said it was ridiculous. And so, I mean, my wife's afraid, and to tell you the truth, I'm afraid. I'm afraid that, you know, and we don't know who to go to for help. I've got this, like I said, this attorney, I got him on the hook. He's already said yes, and, sorry.
You're fine. It's okay.
And all this stuff, I mean, when I came up here, Rachel, I'd just come out of a very, very confusing situation. I was in a very strange place in my life. I wasn't myself. And you can verify through Heath. If you talk to Heath Clark, he can tell you that I am not the same man that got here. And that was kind of the point, because I was a mess. And I have the feeling that what's happening is because I was a mess before, somehow this is being now projected upon me, if you understand. And I'm having to withdraw step by step because, first of all, what the heck's going on? I have proof of it. There is something, but I'm powerless to penetrate what it is. And that's what led to, whenever Heath made contact, one thing led to another. And I asked him, can you talk to Ricky? Because Ricky, I know, maintains active contacts in this community. And if there's anything going around, I just need to have an idea of what it is so I can go to my attorney and start to defend myself. And I'm being denied that on purpose. We are so isolated. There is not a member of this community that will look us in the eyes, much less speak to us. And all we can do is sit here and wait. We don't have a plan.
Can I ask you something about the trespass? Did the troopers serve you anything?
No, ma'am.
How do you know that there's a trespass out on you?
Because I went up there to talk one-on-one with the new sergeant, who is Trooper Minor, because of all this stuff that I'm describing to you.
He pulled it up on the computer.
Yeah, he pulled it up on his computer. He said, because I said Shane Spencer. He said, oh, Shane Spencer, I know that name. And I got this recorded. It'll take me, I got to get the damn thing transferred. But he said, I've heard that name. And I'm like, why have you heard my name? And I said, because someone asked me to serve a trespass on you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And, the conversation ensued. And it's like, and I explained to him that as far as I knew, from my perspective, I thought that Ray and I were estranged because of what happened. One, because of what happened between his mother, my mother and I, or my mother and him. And, help me out here, honey.
What?
Well, I mean, you know what I'm getting at.
Well, how did you know? Is because when you sat down and had your conversation, he showed you on the computer the police notes of attempted filing, but he couldn't file it because you weren't standing on the premises whenever they got there.
Right. And I said, is that normal? And I mean, can somebody call it in like a pizza? And he's like, no, there has to be something. And I'm like, so why would someone call in and ask you to do something? I mean, I can understand ignorance of the law, but they got to be pretty ignorant. I'd done nothing. But yet, because of what he did, it seems like that's being used to back up some other story that I know nothing of. And we're just up here sitting, waiting. But I was trying to keep this off and away from MTA. I don't want to lose my job. I love my life up here. I don't want to move. You know, I mean, I could go up and work with Jim from Timtel or whatever if the union would let me go, and I told Heath as much. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with us. It's just that everywhere we turn and every connection we try to make with our community, the doors are slammed, the doors and the shutters are slammed shut to such a degree that, I mean, we can barely function. And so I can't do my job. And I'll tell you, I just was hoping I could do something about this, you know, to try and save, you know, because I've worked so hard and you know how hard I work.
Yeah.
You've heard. And I didn't do anything, Rachel. I swear to Christ. I'm sorry. I didn't do anything, and everything's getting taken away. I mean, it's like as soon as I broke up with that darn woman, which was just a casual relationship, I mean, you know, and I did it quickly because I just decided in one sitting what I wanted to do. I wanted my wife and my son back. This was not my life, etc., etc. Fill in the blanks with the appropriate drama, but you get the sentiment. I left it all. I walked away. I never went back to her house, and I've never spoken to her except with my wife in an ill-fated attempt to try and patch things up with the community, and just made it worse. And like I said, to this day, I'm sitting here talking to you, Rachel, and if I said I had a damn clue on earth what is being said or why this is happening, it would only be a guess. All I know is that everything's pretty much, I'm down to the point of where I'm talking to you, and obviously I feel no further need to hide anything.
Yeah,
because
I know why.
yeah, the cat's out of the bag, and so either I'm going to keep my job, and I just need the company's help in terms of resources and in terms of connection with the community. And, you know, I went to Heath to elicit the help of the union, and when he came back, all I could figure is that, look, man, you know, HR needs to, you know, this is just where we ended up. And I knew that when I talked to Heath that something would happen. I knew it because he would not let me down. And now I'm sitting here in a situation that I couldn't figure out to get myself into to be able to talk to you guys. And,
well,
you know.
Let me just clarify if it's okay with you. Just a couple of questions right off the top. Has anybody threatened you or Caitlin or anyone in your family?
Directly? Absolutely not.
Okay, no direct threats. Okay. And then, the trespass, as far as you know, did that not go through, like, when you went and talked to Trooper Minor, you basically said,
he said yes.
Oh, I'm familiar with that name because I was going to serve a trespass on you, but that was never served, correct?
Correct. And he verified because he had to go into some database and it checked to verify it. And he said, no, that never got served. And he does remember it because it was ludicrous. And we and we kind of went back and forth. I was a little more serious than he was because my mind was just blown. Yes.
And was it Ray Evans that did it for sure?
That is what he said. Yes.
Okay. And do you guys have any? I mean, is Ray Evans like a customer of ours? Do you have to do any kind of work?
Yes.
He has businesses all over Healy.
He has been here.
Oh, wow.
His family's been here since 1961.
Okay.
He has Evans Industries. Ask any one of those guys that are up here. They know. He's one of the founding families whose empire's crumbling under the weight of all these corporations up here. This, you know.
Okay. And did he tell you the notes on the reason? I mean, obviously the judge did not approve the trespass, so that was basically squashed. So far, though, you haven't, as far as you know, you and your family haven't received any direct threats. So tell me, is it now become so very uncomfortable in the community, or are you fearful that someone's going to hurt you guys?
Well, both. I mean, we're armed. I bought weapons, if that's an indication, and I bought the kinds of weapons that I used, that I was trained with, because yes, we are afraid.
Okay. Oh, dear.
And I mean, we
So
don't.
Shane, I have to ask you this question because it sounds to me like, I mean, I don't know how to solve a problem like this, and I'm not trying to solve it. I'm just talking it out. But I don't know how just you even taking 2 or 3 more weeks off is going to solve that. Like, I don't. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I mean, what I would like to do is preserve as much as possible, to the furthest degree possible, what I've worked so hard to create. And if it can't be up here, then somewhere with MTA. And if it can't be with the IBEW, I'm just saying, with my background and experience, if I would be willing to go up, if Jim is willing to, and whatever the arrangement would be, because he's overloaded and I can be taught anything. You ask anyone that's worked with me. And if you put me with Jim and everything, and just let us help us get started in Fairbanks, because our resources are depleted, and just get us out of here for now, because something's happening in this community for sure. And we were trying to get away, but I mean, we just ran out of resources, and to be honest, we were just sitting here trying to figure that very thing out.
Yeah. Who's Jim again?
Pardon me?
Jim with
Who is
Timtel.
Jim?
Oh, Jim is a contractor with Temptel that is in charge of all the new fiber projects and building the networks and designing the networks in Healy and other places. And it would allow us, because Caitlin, she has all kinds of certifications. She's already had interest in her for jobs and stuff. And so if there's anything that in my limited knowledge of things, and I would even switch companies, whatever we need to do, if people could just help us get out for right now. I mean, I just don't want to burn any bridges with MTA or with the union.
I haven't even been able to get a job.
Yeah, she hasn't even been able to get a job. They've needed someone with her certifications up here for ages. The woman had been doing it by herself in the clinic, and they didn't even call Caitlin back with all of her certifications. And they'd been needing someone, and it'd been a hot topic about how they needed help at the clinic and how Peggy's overworked. And my wife comes into town, and she just came from doing the very same work that they're asking her to do. And she's like, hey, guess what? And yeah, never got a call back. Yeah, Heath's calling me. Yeah.
Just stay on the phone with her. Just stay on the phone with her.
I am. I'm just
All right, Shane. I need to, if you're all right with it, Shane, let me kind of think about all this and
yeah.
just see if there's options, what those options could be. I'll give Bryan a heads up about the leave request and see what, if anything, at least for now, that we could set something like that. But I asked Denise to join me because she is familiar with how and what would have to happen with benefits, because I know you're covered under the medical plan, and I want you to know what your options are before you ask for this 6 weeks of leave. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, and I thank you so much, and I thank everyone at MTA. I apologize for being, nebulous, or it wasn't that I was being deceptive. It was just, it's all obvious now. But thank you, above all else, from me and my family. Yeah, just get back to us, and thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hey, Shane, Denise is here. She's gonna let you know basically what happens with medical insurance in the event that you do have to take the 12 weeks.
Okay.
Or excuse me, 6, whatever it is that Bryan was looking at before the park opens or something. Well, actually, I had to get back and forth with NTCA. They were saying when somebody goes on leave loss that they lose their eligibility for health insurance, and I was trying to argue that that is not the case, or shouldn't be the case, because of ACA implications. And so they have indicated that you will be covered during this time as long as you're an employee. The other thing I was going to talk to you about, but it doesn't sound like this is an issue, when you requested FMLA, we didn't know what your situation was, and although you're not eligible for FMLA, the CBA has a provision when the absence is
due to the employee's serious health condition. So I was going to just let you know what Article 21 is in the contract, but it doesn't sound like that's really the issue either. So
Right.
What that is if the employee is unable to work due to a health condition and are under a doctor's care, under the contract you would have a year of leave, of job protected leave, unless the doctor determined that you were unable to ever come back to work, and then that's when the leave would end. But it doesn't sound like that is
No.
what's going on with you isn't even anything that would have been covered under FMLA.
I would be surprised
No.
if it's been written of.
What?
I said I'd be surprised if it's been written of, especially since it's originating from the regions of Healy. Go ahead, you can laugh. I am. I'm practically one of them now. All right. Cool.
Well, so basically, I think it's still important for you to contact Bryan and talk to him.
Right.
And I think that just let him know how much time you need, and he'll let you know if he can accommodate. And then the two of you work out, you're coming back to work or not, depending on how you think about it and what you're comfortable with and what MTA is comfortable with and all that. So
Yep.
this is an awkward situation.
Yeah, and
I
yeah.
imagine very uncomfortable for you.
Yeah. So thanks. And once, like I said, appreciation above all else. So you need me to get off the phone and go do a leave request and then, and follow up with Bryan.
Thank you, Shane. Yes. And,
Okay.
And then I'll be following up with you shortly about this too, Shane, because I do whatever I can do. I'll try to see if there's any options and that sort of thing, and I'll touch base with you.
Thank you so very much to everyone. And yeah, we'll just we'll go ahead with that, and we'll wait to hear back.
Sounds good. Thank
God
you,
bless
Shane.
you. All right. Thanks. Bye bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.